Okay, I would like to do a sort of a basic smoky eye tutorial, and hopefully this is the sort of smoky eye that's not going to be overpowering. It's the kind of thing that hopefully you're going to be able to wear to the supermarket or, just over to a friend's house that you're just now meeting and you want to make kind of a first impression, but you don't necessarily want to look, clubby or over the top. Just a good everyday look. The first thing you want to do is I fully back up and recommend makeup brushes. This one's bent, but it actually works really well, so that's why I didn't throw it out. I recommend that you take those little swabby things, the little plastic spongy things that come with your little eyeshadow palettes, and just throw them away, because basically the only people who could make those work very well are usually going to be makeup artists, and makeup artists know that it's easier to use brushes. So personally, give brushes a try. They can be tricky, but they're the best tool that you're going to find. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you want to get a color that is similar to your skin, only brighter on most skin tones. In my particular case, I'm going to go for a little bit dustier just because my skin is very fair, and if I were to go brighter it'd be white, and that's not really a smoky eye look. So on me, the color that I'm going for is this center one right here. You can see it's a little bit dustier than my eye. And I'm going to just take the makeup brush and I'm going to just sweep it around real quick, blow on it pretty hard, and start dusting it on my eyeball. Generally, any color that you're going to be using, you want to start in the center of your eye and work like a windshield wiper up and down, because the most color, and as you can see I'm just putting it from my eyebrow all the way to my eyelashes, but the most color that you're going to get is going to be deposited right when you first place the brush against your skin, and you obviously want the color to be deposited in the center rather than, say, a blotch here, a blotch there, a blotch there. So what I'm going to do is just take this sort of neutral color. I want it to be fairly heavy all in through here and kind of lighter as I reach the outside and inside edges. I'm going to do that on both eyes, kind of to get a neutral sort of base, and having a neutral color in the middle before you apply the darker and the lighter shades is helpful, because it's going to end up being easier to blend than if you just put dark and light shades on your skin by themselves. I don't know how well this is actually translating, but in real life you can see it pretty well. Okay, so I've got a fairly good base going there. The next thing I want to do is take on a brown on me. On different skin tones it may be a different color, but typically a dark brown is fine. Do the same thing, just swirl it around, blow it, and if you want your eyes to appear bigger, I know a lot of girls go straight for the crease, which is like here, but if you want your eyes to appear bigger, go a little bit above where the crease is so it appears that your entire eyeball is the high part of your eye. So rather than digging in right here, I'm going to dig in up here. And I start with just sort of a windshield wiper motion. I get it even, and it comes on kind of heavy with the darker color, so you want to take just a tiny bit and be very gentle with it, like that. I may just go ahead and do one eye because it's looking like I'm running a little short on time. But as you can see, I'm gently applying it until it appears almost like just a natural shadow. Like if there was a very intense light right in front of my eyes and I had very big round eyes, this is where the shadow would fall. One of my tips is you always want to take a good look at your face before you put makeup on. You don't want to fall into that rut where you're putting on makeup and you're not thinking and you're just sort of doing it mechanically, because every day is different and your skin is different every day. Apparently I'm going ahead and doing both eyes. Next thing you want to do is take a clean Q-tip, and I recommend Q-tip brand because everything else turns out really hard or it kind of comes apart, and kind of just scrape it in the brown eyeshadow like that, and then under your eye make a line. And the reason we're using a Q-tip is because it makes a nice smoky smudgy line as opposed to something like just applying an eyeshadow and then smudging it. This is a much faster way of doing it. And as you can see, I'm making it fairly thick, but I use the clean end of the Q-tip to start the next eye, because the longer you use these, the flatter they become and the wider it gets. And if you use the same side on each eye, you're going to end up with one thinner eye and one thicker eye. And then you take yet another clean Q-tip, just wipe it on there. And you want to just do the outer half to the outer third of your eye the same way, only probably a little bit thicker and a little bit heavier, like that. Just wiping it in there and smudging it on, making sure it's even. You can see this is kind of coming together into a kind of a smoky look. Now, this next part is optional. It depends on if you want your eyes to appear large, and a lot of girls are going to want their eyes to appear larger with this, just because smoky eye is a dark color, and dark color typically makes your eyes kind of shrink up, and this makes up for that. What this is just a slightly light, sparkly, loose shadow, and I'm dipping my finger in it, and I'm sticking it in the center, the very, very, very center of my eye, like that, and I'm just barely blending it, so it's like a dot of light shadow that just sort of becomes almost invisible in the center of my eye. And then I'm dipping it again, and I'm putting it up right underneath where my eyebrows are, and just barely blending it downward, and that creates a highlight. Okay, so most of the smoky eye is actually all put together already. Next thing you want to do is take a brown pencil eyeliner, and you want to make sure it's kind of a squishy, smudgy one. The cheap ones are going to be hard and they don't blend well. And just right directly underneath your eyelashes, your bottom eyelashes, do a line. And it may seem kind of pointless to have done the Q-tip, but the Q-tip blends down a lot further, and this just makes it come to a dark point and then blend naturally downward. So you can see kind of how that's going. Then you want to take eyeshadow and do one basic coat. Start close to your eyelids, wiggle it back and forth, and spin it. Oh well, great, now I've made a couple of big obvious eyeshadow smudges, or mascara smudges. There. Mascara is the word I'm looking for. You want to take the mascara and wiggle it and twist it like in this kind of a direction away from your eye while you're putting it on. Do one basic coat on the top, one basic coat on the bottom. And for mascara, we're using black. You cannot use brown for this, or your eye is just going to kind of fizzle and it's not going to have that pop that you want around your actual eyes. So I'm doing a quick coat and wiggling and twisting. And the reason you wiggle is it keeps them from clumping, and the reason you twist is because it gives you an even coating instead of having a very heavy coating right at the base of your eye and then having it kind of be thin as it goes away. Don't judge me. I'm not wearing any makeup and my hair is kind of scruffy, but it's all for your benefit. So I've done one quick coat and then a second coat, and the key to this look is the second coat only on the upper outer third of your eyelashes. And you can see how that eye looks just a little bit bigger and a little bit more dramatic than my other eye. Just on the upper outer 1/3 a second coat, because it's going to make your eyes look big and sort of cat-like and exaggerated. Now, I realize that on this camera you're not getting that good of a view, but in real life, hopefully that's capturing a little, in real life my eyes are very sort of a natural smoky look. And what you want to do with this is make sure you don't skip the blush, and you want to go for a very subtle, sort of a pale pink lip, because you don't want it to be overpowering on the makeup. This is the kind of look that hopefully you'll be able to wear with, you know, jeans, everyday clothing, and it's very simple. Once you get the hang of it, you should be able to do it in 5 minutes or so. Hopefully that's helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to post them.